Hi everybody, I'm Michael with Salt Candy, and today I just want to give you one quick and powerful mixing trick that I use on all of my mixes, and that's going to be using a tilt shelf EQ. Now, the timing of this is really important. I either do it at the beginning of my mix, or if it's one of my own productions in particular, I'll do it while premixing. Now, what this allows me to do is to get all of my track's tones in the right ballpark with not a lot of hassle or really mangling of my sound. I'm not doing kind of crazy EQ moves right away, but just really quick and powerful tonal shifts. So first let's go over what a tilt shelf is. If we have, say, we have a frequency spectrum right here. We go from around 20 Hertz to 20,000. A tilt shelf is just going to be something like this. So basically we've got, in this case, a high shelf and a low shelf. Now, it could also look something like this. We have the opposite of that. A low shelf and a high shelf. So in both of these cases, we're shifting the low frequencies to high or high frequencies to low. And we could also get something more linear, like one of these guys. Give a more even change in the frequencies. Let's say we have a guitar, so 20,000, and that guitar is sitting somewhere around, let's say down here is 100. So we've got a frequency response that looks something like okay. So more energy in the low end. Maybe the mic was a bit too close to the guitar. Maybe there was just a lot of low end. So what a positive tilt shelf is going to do for this is just going to shift that frequency balance. So now we've got something like maybe moving more of the energy into the high end. Okay. So what is this going to do for us? Let's say we have a song. So we have a bunch of different elements in this mix, right? Let's say we have bass. I'll just give 100, 1,000, 10,000. Okay, so we have the full frequency range laid out here. Let's say we have bass that's mostly sitting somewhere around down at the low end up into here. Let's say we've got some guitar that's kind of covering a fair amount of the spectrum. And say then we also have, so we've got bass, guitar. Then let's say we've got we got some piano. Maybe this piano is kind of on the upper range of the piano that they were playing. So we've got up in here, piano. Then we've got, the drums are kind of sitting throughout, so we've got like the kick down here, but obviously that extends all the way up into here, up into the higher frequencies. The snare is going to be somewhere in maybe this region. Up here we've got like hi-hats and cymbals. We've probably got a pad, some kind of pad sound, maybe strings filling up, maybe extending all the way down here. And then we got a vocal that's pretty much covering the whole spectrum. So fairly dense mix can be made up from these different elements. So what's the tilt shelf going to do for us? Basically, either at the start of your mix or in a pre-mixing session where you're setting up, trying to get things kind of laid out to start with. So basically I can just listen to the mix and be like, okay, the vocal's not bright enough, so I'm gonna use the tilt shelf to brighten the vocal. And this is just gonna be ballpark. I'm just gonna try to hit each thing in the ballpark. The piano's also too dark, so maybe most of its energy is over here. I want it to be a little bit more balanced in the high end. The guitar, I might chop off some of this low end, and then maybe the guitar is sitting just right if I just get rid of the low end. So the bass, I'm going to want to brighten it somewhat so that way it can cut through the busy mix. Now, my strings have a lot of high end, but maybe they're just a little too bright, a little too piercing, so I'm going to use a tilt shelf to bring them down. The snare, I might want to cut off some of the low end, and then depending on the sound I'm going for, I might want to brighten it or darken the snare. Let's say my kick's a little too boomy, so I'm going to brighten it somewhat. And then my hi-hat and crash are sitting just right. So you can see how you can use a tilt shelf to just very quickly get all of your elements of your mix sitting better relative to each other. This is just going to be shifting the balance of energy. And the reason I like using a tilt shelf to do this is I can very quickly, and particularly depending on the plugin I'm using, so my favorite plugin is Tiltshift by Goodhertz. And that's just functionally a one knob plugin. So you drag the gain knob up or down, you can set the range, you can introduce a higher low pass. Using just this one plugin, throwing one onto every single part of my mix or my premix, I can quickly center the energy of each track, so that way together they're already fitting together and kind of covering the frequency spectrum a lot easier. Okay, and that about wraps it up. Now, as I pointed out earlier, my favorite plugin for this technique is Goodhertz's Tiltshift EQ. The reason I like this plugin so much is you can basically just open the plugin up on a track and just grab the gain knob and slide it up or down. And you've gotten a very musical, very transparent tonal adjustment with just one knob. It does allow you to change the total range, so you can change the frequencies affected, and you're able to add a lower high pass. It's kind of a one-trick pony, and that's why I like it so much. If you found this helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below. Have you used this technique before? Is this new to you? Do you think you're going to try it? Thank you for watching.